Hi, you guys. So this is not my normal way of doing videos, but this is an important message and I really wanted to get it out before I forget because it has to do with a dream I just had. So if you're coming across this message, please know this is really relevant. You need to hear this message. There's some really important stuff in here. And this isn't going to come, very, very few people will get this message because YouTube just shut down my YouTube channel. So like my normal reach doesn't exist, right? I just have a few people who are in my membership who, have been with me for a long time. So if you don't know who I mean, obviously you probably don't. My name is Aura, A-U-R-A. That's my given name. I'm a psychic. I'm an astrologer. I'm a mystic. I've been predicting the crypto market for a long time. But so you can find more out at auraright.media. But what I really want to do is just get this message out because it's wild. I had a dream, and first of all, let's give you sort of the astrological context of what's going on. So, well, there's a very big alignment that's happening on December 21st, the winter solstice this year, and that is going to be major, huge energetic alignment. I have talked in greater detail with members, but the bottom line here is that it is tied in with the 3-eye atlas thing and the whole idea of there's just huge energetic shifts happening to us. Okay, I'm going to reference like Edgar Cayce and the works of Dolores Cannon and all these people who've talked about this timeline shift and the 3D, 5D and all of this. Okay, so the first and most important thing that I really want you guys to get about this message and why it's so important is that anybody who's telling you something as if they know what's coming, anybody who's describing it in some sort of specific kind of way, they are not going to be correct. This is not going to be anything like anything that we've ever experienced. And as we go into 2026, because this whole energetic shift that we're going through is really starting in earnest. I mean, it started already, but the 21st is some sort of significant cracking or breaking or shifting or breaking open of things. And I'm going to go into the dream and what I think that means in relation to this. And then all through 2026, there's going to be a major shifting that's going on. Part of this has to do with the energy, the solar flares, the energy that's coming off the sun that is affecting us on some sort of biological level. Part of it has to do with vibrational levels and frequencies that you may be living at. Some people will be at a higher vibration than other people. And this has definitely got to do with us wanting to go into the higher frequency state for sure. But there's going to be some things that happen that are going to be just really strange and that no one's going to be able to make sense of, okay? And so there's some really big theme here about keys, okay? Keys are really, really important. The whole deal with keys has been going on in my life a lot over the last few weeks. Things as simple as my car key breaking, and then I had to get another one, and then that one breaks, and then I have to order another one, and then I'm like having to fix one of the old ones and just weird stuff about keys, okay? And the dream has all this stuff about keys in it. So this is not just, let me just say this again, super clear so that you guys get it. Things that are coming, nobody will make sense of. Nobody will understand. Part of it has to do with AI and the way AI is starting to do whatever it's doing. It may have something to do with CERN and whatever they're doing with the Hadron Collider and trying to open up portals. And there's something metaphysical happening. And it is really the way through is for us to be as grounded in our highest vibrational self as we possibly can, despite anything and everything coming at us that is distressing, right? That might unsettle us. So the most important thing is that we know how to get ourselves back to center, get ourselves back to being grounded no matter what's going on. And for me, and I think this is true for anybody who's like a human, right, is that we need to connect to the earth. We need to stay present with the elements around us. So having said all that, and the fact that I do expect really strange things to be coming, really weird things to be happening, and like I said, I can't say what it is. Nobody can say exactly what it is because I really believe that what is coming, we've never experienced before. And all I can feel is that it has a lot to do with frequency, shiftings of the bandwidth of the frequency. Maybe we could compare it to a radio station when you're trying to dial in on a radio station and different people for dialing into different radio stations. And the reason I say that is because of what came up in the dream. So let me just tell you the dream. So in this dream, I was at an office, or I had an office of some sort, and there were two other people there with me, and I was closing up. And so they left before I did, and they went to the car, I think. And so I go and try and close up, and something was wrong. I didn't have the key. There was something up with the key. And there was all these different steps of things I had to do. I had to put this away, and I had to go there, and I had to go out back, and I had to go into this other area. And I had all these weird steps I had to go through. And then I was trying to get the key. I was trying to find the key. I was trying to sort out the key. And I was just going in all these different places, and ultimately I ended up back at the car where the other two people were, and I was like, where's the key? Do you guys have the key? We couldn't find the key, and then somehow we were at like a restaurant or a coffee shop, and we were just chatting with people, and then there was my key, and I got my key back. And then somehow we were driving, and we found ourselves in this weird field, and we went and it was daylight, broad daylight, and we walk out into the field, and there was this artifact there, and it was like an uncovered, like old, like truck, like Jeep, like it was red, like one of those 1950s, really thick steel, really solid, but it was like coming out of the earth, like it was an artifact that had been uncovered, and it was in two pieces. And it wasn't built like trucks that we normally have. It didn't look like our trucks. It was just built in that solid kind of 1950s, old Americana, really good, solid craftsmanship truck. And it had a badging on it that said something like Trump such and such. And I was like, it was so weird because I just knew, it was like the information I was given was that this was the timeline where Trump was in charge of everything, and things went forward with Trump, but I was somehow far, far in the future of this timeline, but that they had brought the manufacturing back, and they were building all these really heavy duty, constructed steel trucks and things like that, like had been done in the, heyday of manufacturing in the United States. But I also knew that society had fallen somehow, okay? And then I was getting some sort of a battle between people, and then somebody else was saying, yeah, but then Biden and Kamala, and when they won. And then I was on another timeline, and I see this other whole set of things where everybody is a cyborg. They're like digitized. They're like not present. They're not in their bodies, and they're all sort of half machine. And they have like these weird, they have like circuitry on their skin and their faces, and they have like, I've done channelings about this where there's like this weird, like neon light that comes out of them. And the channelings were about real light versus false light. So this is all false light that they're in. And then I'm seeing like these kids who are trying to have like a couple, like a boy and a girl who are in a relationship, and everybody is like harassing them and making fun of them, and like, oh, you do it the new way, you guys are old fashioned. Like they were just, I don't think they were using those words, but they were making fun of them and harassing them about how they shouldn't be in a straight relationship. Like that was not cool at all. And they were completely harassed and bullied for being in a straight relationship. And then they were, there was this whole, like the social order was completely changed where babies were not made by a couple anymore, and they all came out of incubators, and like it was all this not human reality, and that society also collapses and falls. And then as I was waking up, I heard Triffin's dilemma, and I don't know exactly what Triffin's dilemma is. In fact, I'm gonna look it up. But what I got, what sort of the guides were saying, I have to look it up now, make sure that that's correct. But it was, the dilemma was that in either one of these directions, it was like a false dichotomy, that there was no good way out, that both directions led to the end, led to this destruction in a way that wasn't, good or pleasant or, happy or whatever, it didn't lead to empowerment of humanity. Okay. The empowerment of humanity comes from connecting, staying present with the feelings, the emotions, the love, the connection between humans, and the nature, and being real, real, staying connected to being real. And that's why this message feels so important, because most people will have no clue of what's happening when it starts happening. It's just going to be this, I don't know. I don't know. I'm feeling like a lot of things moving around. It's like the earth is shaking, and yes, there's going to be a lot of earth changes and things like that, and storms and weather. Not necessarily all on December 21st, but this whole opening of this portal and people's biology changing to either evolve into a more multi-dimensional kind of human, or into this false dichotomy split where both ends are the same. And essentially it's like going down the same road, even though the decisions and the thoughts and the mind behind it is kind of different, right? There's kind of different beliefs and values and judgments going in both of those roads, but they both go to a destruction. And I don't know, I didn't see what the sort of Trump future just looked like, except for I was seeing this artifact in the future of how they did succeed in bringing in this kind of manufacturing and, probably also through some sort of robotics and things like that. It was also a feeling of there was a sort of like a Nazi overlay to that whole energy, which I'm not sure if that's from like movies or from things that have been placed into the public domain, or that's what that future is sort of about. But the point here is that we are going to choose our future. We are going to go into whichever future we are most aligned with. And to me, best future, and you can agree with me or disagree, it's up to you, but the only future that really provides us unity and real connection with other humans is the one where we stay connected to the earth. Okay, it doesn't have anything to do with this political division, these political battles. They're designed to take us away from ourselves. Okay, and they will lead to some sort of destruction. It is absolutely 100% not about being right. It is not about making that guy wrong. It is not this two-sided drama that we're being pushed at us. Triffin's dilemma. I mean, I this is not like something I've ever studied or looked up before. I don't really actually know what Triffin's dilemma is. Actually, I'm going to look it up and then I will put these two videos together. So hold on. Well, that was really weird. I'm going to paste it in here. I'm going to edit this together and show you what the answer was that I got when I looked up Triffin's dilemma, which is in fact about the monetary system. And it's about how the US basically has to keep running deficits because that's how the rest of the world gets financial reserves. So if we stopped, then the rest of the world wouldn't be getting their financial reserves again. And I think we're up against the crisis of Triffin's dilemma in 2026. And that would be a complete and total just shattering of the financial system in some way, shape, or form. I mean, I've seen this for years. I've definitely talked about it on my old YouTube channel, which no longer exists. So there's something tied in there with Triffin's dilemma, but I'm also getting like that double bind kind of idea of damned if you do, damned if you don't. You can't go down either one of these apparent polarity paths, that there has to be another alternative, and that the alternative has to do with being something more than those two alternatives, being some whole that integrates both of those, and also making sure we're connected back to the earth, to nature, to, to being human, and staying really staying in the heart, staying connected to the people we love. This is going to be so incredibly important, really important. But it has a lot to do with the keys, and that, this was part of the message. Sorry, I didn't say that in my dream. Somehow some person came up to me. I don't remember where it was. It was somewhere where I was going out back and I was trying to close up the shop. And this person came to me and they said, the keys unlock the dimensions. The keys unlock the dimensions. And so that's the theme here. It's about the keys. The keys. What are the keys? We are the keys. You are the key. I am the key. We, our bodies, ourselves. We are the keys. That is why we must stay connected, stay aligned, stay emotionally centered, and be connected to nature, to earth, to that which is around us. That's the important takeaway from all of this, is that we're the keys, and we are the key that unlocks this puzzle box of impossibility, where you're given one path and that path looks impossible, and you're given the other path and that path looks impossible, and never the two shall meet. There's going to be such a bigger ripping apart of these consciousness levels that it's going to turn into a really complicated thing that I, again, cannot explain to you. I don't think anyone can explain to you. I think we're going into something that we've never experienced before, that no one's ever seen before, that we have no context for. Could there be aliens involved? Yes. Could there be UFO, phenomenon involved? Yes. But do not fall into the dilemma of the double-edged sword where you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't, which is also what Triffin's dilemma is about. They have to keep printing money, but they can't keep printing money, right? If they do keep printing money, they're going to blow everything up. If they don't keep printing money, they're going to blow everything up. Or they'll destroy everything, just in a different way. So, but it somehow is connected to this idea of these two sides, right? The two political points of view, the left versus the right, that is a false dilemma. It seems like a true dilemma in the sense of the financial system, that if they stop, then the thing will fall apart. But if they keep going, then the thing is going to fall apart by necessity, because then everything hyperinflates and then it blows up, and then the system doesn't survive that either. So this is somehow tied to whatever's going on with the monetary system, which is, a lot of chaos right now. So that's the message. I hope that is helpful to you guys. Please, please go out and connect with nature. Please, please stay connected with the people you love. Find ways to connect with that that community, that unity of community that is so important. Okay. Unity of community. The keys unlock the dimensions. You are the keys. Being unified with your community means that you are unlocking a dimension together, and you're keeping some kind of a bubble of a better dimension around you. That's the important takeaway here. Hope that helps. Let me know what you think. Do you have any other insights? There have been a lot of thoughts that have been predictions over the years from people like Edgar Cayce and Dolores Cannon about this separation of the 3D, 5D, but it almost feels to me like there's 3 different directions, or I don't know. But and maybe there's many more, because this is there are multitudes, but some dimensions are at a lower plane of existence than others. And the way to go to the higher plane of existence, where we're based in community, unconditional love, reciprocity, not all these tit for tat game playing, obligation, sort of like just tricks that people play on each other. That is the lower vibrational frequency. And that's what, I'm trying to get away from that. That's not what I want. But the point here is, even like Baba G also was predicting really weird things in 2026, where people are going to start vanishing and things like this. So there is something really wild that is coming. Be ready. Please be prepared. It's not just about having the assets and the resources that we think we need to get through difficult times financially. It's about being the resource and being the key. We are the keys. You are the key. Okay, the keys that unlock the dimensions. Having said that, talk to you guys later. Namaste. Have a beautiful week. Bye-bye.